Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers!
Calling all retro gamers!
Calling
all retro gamers!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Calling All Retro Gamers, your semi-weekly excuse to hang out and chill, have some good times, and talk about some games. I'm one of your hosts, Rich, and of course, my buddy.
What's up? What's up? Now in 180p.
That's right. The Evercade Effect in full HD. What's up?
So check this out. But before we get into it, so the beginning, which I know we keep threatening to record, but of course, as you all know, like I had like that mannequin torso there, and it was, initially when like Evercade collections were small, and it was there just to kind of attract attention. Well, what cracked me up about that, because the closet over here, that y'all can't see, keep a bunch of Halloween stuff out, and I got that torso there because it's feeling like a dilemma, because when I got that, like the JCPenney's was going out of business, and it was only like $20. Because I went in, it was, went in there. My wife kind of knew it was going to buy some type of mannequin thing, but didn't want to get like a full bot or something like too weird. But it's like now, like I'm stuck with a torso because they, they're worth something. I just don't want to put that outside to someone take it. So yeah, I'm stuck with a torso, but that cracks me up.
That's awesome.
that may come back.
That's pretty good. So, but let's get into the chat, and right away. What's going on, Letter Jim? That's one. What's going on, Mr. Shua? Saying, hey, let's get this thing underway. And here we go. 2, Phantom Fiction, GTC in the house. That's 3. And look, it's bask in the 1080p glory. It's spreading everywhere. It's here. It's on the Evercast. It's over at Bacon Ice Cream. It's all because of you guys. Mr. Schuin also saying, hey, Phantom, and this feels weird. You're all on the wrong sides. We can just, here we go. There we go.
Woo!
We did it, guys. So what's going on, man? You hanging in?
Oh yeah. What a better way to start off a work week on a Tuesday.
Heck yeah, man. Man, it was crazy today. So in my line of work, it's, first full day. Crimson Cross, what's going on? What's going on? Glad you can make it in. Yeah, we're just getting ready. First day, full staff, everyone in. They come in and they're like, "Oh, hey, that's awesome. Thanks for like setting up the room this way. Could you set it up like totally different right now?" And then it'd be like, "Oh, all right." So it was lots of moving, lots of maneuvering and all sorts of cool stuff. It's all good though. It's fun. It's a fun time.
Nice.
Getting ready. The kids will return on Thursday. We'll see what really happens. We're getting the fire hose on Thursday. That's happening. But yeah, well, it's a good time. We're hanging in there. So that's it. That's right. It is 4. I don't know. I think this might be the first time that's ever happened.
Right?
Like in a row, in one comment field, it's just boom, 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 with no one else. Right. I mean, always in the Evercast, there's always somebody. There's always somebody else that that knocks it out. But that's good. I'm hype. I'm hype about the GTC hype. So, but we got some cool stuff for you. We got some cool topics that are being brought to you courtesy of the Evercade Effect himself.
Hey, before we get into those, just something fun, real quick, because I always like to tell people about free games or temporary free games.
Yeah.
But actually, so we have a game, at least that was like made for free, and it's like if you like Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can share this without
lagging.
Let me put the link in the chat.
Holocure Save the Fans.
Yes, so it's based upon some anime series and whatnot. I do have to give credit to like Gaming on Linux, like brought this up, but I think of it as like it's a Vampire Survivors clone. Kind of think of it. I mean, it's its own game. Think of it as anime skins, but it's completely free. So I'm thinking that they couldn't, by all rights, they could charge $5 for this game. Like it's that good of a game. But I think because it's based upon some franchise that they couldn't, because they don't have the rights to it.
Sure.
But But yeah, if you want to be like anime characters and go out there and do things, the same upgrades and everything runs great on Steam Deck and
nice.
and all,
Hey,
and all that.
I'm all about free games.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good time.
I don't know if this is going to be one of those pre-log games or whatever, but I've actually been having a lot of fun with it. So
nice. Well, that's cool. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Our topic, because I know I'll forget. So it's like
nice. So the first topic. I don't know if we want to do an order or whatever, but there was some kind of rumor that you might be getting something.
Yeah. We could do that one.
All right. So, and what it is might you be getting an arcade 1-up for free?
Right.
How do you feel about this?
Yeah. At least that. Yeah. See, there's a guy next door that leaves his garage open, and I can see it. I know that's what it sounds like, some shady stuff. So, all right. So let me give you all some backstory to kind of explain. So, my brother-in-law, he works for like an oil refinery company, as like an inspector in New Mexico. Travels a lot, usually like away for 2 weeks at a time. When he comes home to his house, maybe he's there for a week, then goes back and all that stuff. So he's not as home as much. And so like, if we go back, my time frame is off. Go back a couple of years. There was a time where he was mainly just getting like extended stays for a week and all that, because he's like, well, I'm not home enough. And so then he did get like a house like an hour away, and then we did go ahead and like move him and all that. Actually, we kind of got like a freezer, like not like a stand up, but a freezer out of some other things, which was pretty cool. And so then from that, then he was there for a while at the house. There was like, I don't know, some like issues with the piping or whatever. It cost too much to fix. So then he's like, all right, need to sell it, move. Actually made some money on that. Then moved into the Houston area. And then it's kind of funny because like my wife kind of jokingly said like, hey, that's like the last time we're moving you, or you're, like at least till we're 50 or all that, because it's a lot of work, like, because it's just us, and he'll rent like a U-Haul or something. So thinking a little bit forward. So then now what he's thinking, because it's like, well, his housing and stuff is expensive. Not only that, but like, because now he's like 4 hours away. So it's like, I think maybe to go to where he either has to take a plane or 8 hours to drive. And sometimes he'll come back and visit us, and then he'll go pick up his daughter. And it's a lot. It's really like a lot of driving back and forth. So he was maybe thinking of getting like an RV or something like that. And at first I was like, oh man, move again. And I was like, wait a second. So you may have seen a video on this channel that that I made called like, I'm glad I didn't get an arcade 1-up.
Yeah.
Actually, it was kind of funny because like last time we were over there, like I updated the firmware, and I heard like actually some games like Mortal Kombat and all that played better. But I was like, wait a second. My brother-in-law, he may not have a place to put an arcade 1-up. I mean, and it's kind of funny because I told my wife, and she's like, yeah, my brother was thinking, yeah, I know how to bribe Ed to help. I'm like, yeah, if he doesn't have a place for it and he wants to get rid of it, I'm like, yeah, that would.
That'll do a freeze for me, right?
Yeah. That's why I say blood, sweat, and tears. And then if anything else, I'm like, I could go ahead and upgrade the buttons and the joys. I mean, that's got to be like under $50. I don't think that's gonna.
Oh yeah, no worries.
But yeah, he has it with the riser, and actually even has like a stool. I don't know if he,
Nice.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, I would. I'm like, I would take one for free, leave it stock for a while. Then, the cool thing is if you did want to change something like that, you could always like throw a PC or a Pi or something in the future. But otherwise, it is your Mortal Kombat, it is your Joust, it has like Defender. So I mean, it's not by any means like a bad lineup. It has Tubin, which is kind of odd, but it has Tapper. So yeah, that's why cool. I said maybe. That's why.
Hey, you never know.
That's why I said maybe. But it kind of got me excited. And then I know he also. Like an Xbox and a PS5, like I jokingly said, hey, if he doesn't have room for either one of those, I'll take one of those too.
Right.
But yeah, that's what's kind of neat. Sometimes you help family and people move to show their gratitude. They may give you stuff that they can no longer fit. So yeah, that would excite. I would find some room somewhere back there. I may have to shuffle some things around because that might be too close to the door. But
nice.
But yeah, so that's why, for free. That's why I say, not for money, but it would be like sweat and tears.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to update us in case, like how everything goes.
Actually, him, he's They're coming over to visit him and his niece, or my niece, not his niece. That my daughter is, but his niece. They're coming over to visit this weekend. So I'm sure it'll get brought up. So by the time on the next show, I'll give you guys an update.
Very cool. Very cool.
He could change his mind and be like, "Nah, I don't want to move." But
right.
You never know. But
Hey,
he kind of goes back and forth between that. I'm like, hey, it may benefit me. So
right? Yeah, why not? Why not? So so they were just talking in the chat. Yeah, I was talking to Crimson earlier in a different chat that he might be going in on the Atari 2600 Plus and maybe picking up the new Outlaw XP cart because the new limited edition Outlaw cartridge is now up for pre-order on Atari.com. And then I
hadn't heard it. Do you have something to share?
Yeah, so let me
because I hadn't.
Let me share up.
Is this a new game too, or is this a new game and limited edition, or
so this one is just a limited edition of an already existing game by Atari. The artwork is all new. As Mr. Shua in the chat also was talking about the cart artwork, or the cartwork. That's a great way to put that actually. It's by Butcher Billy, who's done a couple of different things for Atari in the past, and the artwork here is just it's pretty stellar.
Dude, I'd almost
a good job.
That'd make a great tattoo.
Right.
The two guns.
So
I love that.
And then in the box it's like the classic 2600 box. It's like the second wave of games with the silver labels and all that kind of stuff.
Is this a new game or is this an old game?
No, it's an older game.
Did they do any enhancements to it?
Yeah. I don't know actually. Let me see if they're terrestrial rares never released. Okay. Blah blah blah. Overview. Based on the 1976 arcade game of the same name, Outlaw is an exciting game for 1 or 2 players set in the Wild West. While the original arcade game only allowed for a single gunslinger, the Atari 2600 version released in 78 gives you the option to play alone, where you can practice your aim against moving targets or against another gunslinger, and the contest is here to see who can score 10 hits against the other player. 16 different game variations, certain to keep you entertained for hours as you hone your sharpshooting skills. Doesn't look like there's anything. Yeah, it's the XP cartridges. They're made out of new high-quality materials, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, the
so
XP,
it's an XP. It's a redo. But
that game sounds familiar.
Outlaw, yeah. I want to say that I actually have an original Outlaw cartridge, at Studio B for something that I still have yet to finish, because that seems to be my lot in life, is to start cool things and then never finish them. But yeah, I want to say that I have a copy of Outlaw. Dude, I don't think I've ever played it though, which is interesting.
You know what? What we're on the topic of Atari, and I thought about this. You know what they should do would be a great opportunity to kind of be remasters. Imagine let's take something like a game that everyone loved, like Pitfall, Frogger.
Sure.
What if they just took like classic, let's say like 2600 versions?
Yeah.
And if they did a remaster, but what if they made them into like 7800 versions?
Well, that'd be kind of cool.
Like basically it would be like
that'd be neat.
Yeah, think of it. It would be like the same game, but with better graphics. But it wouldn't be like too out there. But it would, but it'd be 7800 graphics, or they could even push it, make it look more like better than Nintendo. Turn it into like 8-bit.
Yeah, well, and with the 2600 plus, if they were to start like revamping 2600 games to 7800 status, like with the better sound chip and all that. Oh man,
yeah,
that would be rad.
Get better sound, or if they wanted to be super cool about it, make it to there's a dip switch on it. You put like if you put then that way you could put in a 2600, and let's say it would just be like the 2600 version of Frogger. But then if you put it like into a 7800 capable playing machine, then you could flick the dips. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you see the people with OG hardware. Well, I mean, chances are you have at 7800. But yeah, I was like, if they did like Frogger, Pitfall, a few of those, that'd be fantastic.
Well, and I completely agree too about the 2600 plus being almost too good not to grab, especially if you're a fan of the 2600 and the 7800, and you happen to have like anything approaching 10 cartridges in hand, then it's almost like even if you have a Retron, I still say this thing is worth the look and worth the get. So, oh yeah, 7800 remastered collection, man, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Yes. If they remastered every single one of those, because they did the new sound versions for Berserk, right? Which is actually going to lead me to talking about the Outlaw Limited Edition price point real quick. But, because they did actual work to Berserk.
Yeah.
And, like put in the synthesized sound and all that kind of stuff on the 2600 cart. And it's $29.99. Like I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And I get, this is a limited edition. They're not going to make so many of these carts. It's got the cool artwork. I get it, and you pay a premium for that, and that's a thing. That's a thing. But it's like, well, when you have like Outlaw here for $59.99, and then you get Berserk for, you're talking $29.90. That's $30 less. Like this at 40. Okay, I'm okay with that. This at 45 even. Maybe even 50. I'm like, okay, all right, I can see it because you're paying for the artwork, you're paying for all the renders. At 60, it's double the price of a cartridge you're putting out that is still cart, box, manual, and they did extra work on the cart.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's like it kind of like has that weird thing about the XP side of things versus the regular release kind of thing. So
yeah, if like you look at Mr. Run and Jump, that's a whole brand new game, and that's only like $29.95. So yeah, I thought it's almost like for the XP, they're like, hey, if you just want to get something special that's limited and throw the money out there, we got something for you.
I didn't know that they put out another update for Mario 7800. I think I knew that obviously the 7800 version existed, but I didn't know that they did any other work to it. That's neat. Yeah, and I would love to have that kind of stuff on the cart, but I mean, will Nintendo actually allow that? Like after that, because those were some very special deals that were only limited time, right? So, so we'll see about that.
Nintendo may not allow it, but there may be a way.
There might be a way, right? Letter Jim says, did I order one? Did I order a Atari 2600 Plus? The answer is yes.
I think he means this cart.
Yes, in quotes. To that, and it was like I had it actually in my cart ready to rock, and then I came home for lunch, and I told my mother-in-law was actually watching the kids that night or that day while I was at work, and I told her about it, and they're like, and then she said directly, "Was like, you didn't order it, did you?" And I'm like, no. And she's like, good, because you're notoriously hard to shop for, and your birthday is a month before this thing comes out, almost directly a month. And I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. It's like, and then right after that is Christmas. It's like, are there accessories? And I'm like, there are. And it's like, stop, don't do it. And I'm like, okay. So yes, to that. For Outlaw, no, I did not order one yet. I don't know if I'm gonna grab one. Like for these kind of things, it's like if this was conversely, if this was Berserk and Butcher Billy did some new artwork for it and it looked fantastic, and here it is, and you still had the extra sound thing, and the regular version was $29.99 and this one was $59.99, yeah, I would probably buy it because I have like so much nostalgic pull to Berserk over anything else. If this was, I don't know, if this was Asteroids, like I know they did the XP series and they had one, but if they did this like big thing for Asteroids and again cool artwork or whatever, yeah, maybe. For this one, no, I don't have the attachment to it. Looks fantastic, but I just don't have the attachment enough to grab the cart. Oh yeah, the update wasn't official. Okay. I mean that's kind of cool though. Like I would love to see it. Is it linked somewhere? Shua, is it on like Atari Age or something? Because I would love to check that out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Back over here, Crimson was saying he's looking at getting 9 old carts to go with the initial purchase for the 2600 Plus. That actually sounds almost, Crimson, like a video that should probably happen.
Right.
Like for real. I think that should be if you're gonna get the 2600 plus, like where do you go, and what do you get for the 2600 plus? Like, what's your 10 cart starter pack? That's a cool. I think that's a cool video idea.
So
let
here's
me know.
another.
So since the GTC is like taking over this chat, like let me know, because if you want, like, what my opinion is for 10 carts, you should pick up with the 2600 plus.
I think you should do that video too.
Let me know. Yeah, he should do that video too.
Both of you,
and then we can compare lists.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Exactly. I think each of y'all should do a video.
Should be happening.
Yes, I think each of y'all should do a video, and then that way it's a good excuse for you to have past Rich come on, and then you could compare and like show your picks, and you could show his picks. And it'd be all cool. It'd be all cool, trippy, confusing.
We should do it.
Another topic along. So we're talking about the Atari that we briefly mentioned on, and I kind of seen it on Twitter. That may be a little controversial, but I see the uses for it. So, if, like any other device that comes out, right? Someone's going to have a firmware update where you can jailbreak this thing, right?
About the 2600 plus?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive.
I'm sure it's going to happen, but it's like, but here's the thing, right? If a thing happens like that and it does it, do I do it? I don't know.
So here are the reasons. Yes, because my first initial thought was, I was like, well, the whole point of the thing is to have physical cards, right? Like technically you could jailbreak like any other device and play it, because you maybe think of like Evercade, right? Like that's like there's no point because you're buying it for the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although with this, I could see people doing it for a few reasons. For one, if somebody's like, hey, I don't want to go out, I don't want to buy a bunch of cards, but I want the pure nostalgia experience. You know what I mean? Like they want to have it. But then the controversial thing is, if there's games like Adventure and stuff they're re-releasing, you should probably like support Atari and buy those. But the kind of cool thing is, there's also if I get one of these, I could see doing that for the merit of, hey, I still want to put in physical carts, but like that Super Mario Brothers, that unofficial version, or like an Atari Age, they've legally put out like a bunch of those ROMs of all those other games that maybe you can't buy in physical form anymore. So I think it might be something where maybe you do it, but maybe you only put on certain games that would either be like way too expensive, like Halloween, like you want to play Halloween, but that maybe like the things with the carts are way too expensive. Where you're like, yeah, I want to play the game. I can't find the cart. But for the ones that I do find, I still want that fun of experience of putting in the cart. I think that's why. But yeah, then it's kind of the thing. But do I do that? Yeah.
Right. Oh. Not to plug another channel, but I was literally just about to do that actually. Because I was like, oh, who did it? And I was like, so here, hold on a second. I was looking up the Mario Brothers 7800, and I was like, who did it? And like, I should have absolutely known that this was going to be the person that did it, but the channel name is Zero Page Homebrew. And they did a live stream for apparently 2.5 hours of this game, which is the final build of the Mario, with the this has the upgraded chip emulation, the audio chip, I guess, which is pretty rad. So like, I don't want to play it because I don't want to like get whacked or whatever. I don't know if Zero Page doesn't like it or whatever. And he does the work, right? He does, so if you guys are liking that, head over to Atari Age and look up Mario 7800. That's exactly what I looked up. Or just go to Zero Page Homebrew on YouTube and then watch it, I guess. I'm gonna watch it later. So I'm down to check this out. I have super nostalgia for like the 2600 version of Mario, because it's going to be one of those other stories I have to tell later on. But I got Mario 2600 instead of a dog one day. Like, it's a true story. But yeah, so there's my preview, my tease for the story. But yeah, that'd be crazy. So, but yeah, check this. I mean, we got to check this out because
put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put the link to the forum post actually.
Yeah.
So boom, there it is, guys.
There we go. No, our viewers can watch it, but I'm like,
check it out.
I want to.
So, Phantom's Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is.
There's a show. You gotta be kidding. Can you put that in the private chat too?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I want to add that to my watch list. See, that was part of
Yeah.
my plan. I was like, add it for the
Do it.
viewers, not that I
Do
want to
it.
add it to my watch list. Or let me copy and paste it.
All right, there we go. So,
But yeah, I love geeking out over stuff like that.
Yeah, man. This is good. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes me excited about retro in general. Is that like there's so many people out there that just have a great mind for this kind of stuff. They go in, they tinker, they do a whole bunch of like, hey, you know, like remember this cool game that was pretty decent, and you only wish that it had X. Well, we added whatever it was, maybe even plus some. So yeah, it's good. It's totally good times. Phantom in here saying he's excited about the 2600 plus, and would love to get a starter list, especially 7800 carts. So that might, I mean, that just puts it over the edge. I mean, it's got to happen.
You know, I got a challenge. Okay, I got a video. I got a challenge.
What's up, Carson? What's going on?
Hey.
Totally getting a 2600 plus as well. Nice.
Yeah, long time no see. No, because the Atari, since it's $130, what you need to do, make a video of your maybe like 5 or 10 starter games. That's like $20. That way, it's like if you get that way, if you get the whole thing for 150, it's like, hey, here's.
Yep. Well, that's what I would like. That's where I would go. And then I know a place, you know, because I go there all the time. That's pretty fair as far as price point goes, especially for 2600 games, because they actually do kind of like a deal because they have so many. They just put them on the rack or whatever, and so you walk up to the counter and there's like 10 of them. You're not paying label price. They give you some kind of bundle deal and then knock off like $4 or $5 because you're buying so many of them, which is great. But not a lot of people are local in my area, so your mileage may vary. But the sticker price is around just under like regular value. So, and I appreciate that as well. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I have to head over to Retro Classics and talk about some stuff. They actually have to bring down. So it's ironic because they just got a brand new store, right? And I was super excited because I was like, oh, they have so much more space. So that means like even if it's back in the corner, which it is, they could put the second gen stuff up there and have like Atari and Intellivision and Coleco, and it's be like one big area, and I'll go in there and I'll look at it and it'll be glorious and be awesome. And they did it. They started to do it. And then they put a Magic the Gathering pop-up shop right in front of it, which is also awesome. But I can't get to the games anymore. And it's like, oh, you're killing me, guys.
Right?
I have to get past all this magic in order to get to my games that I want to look at. But
literally,
I'll have to go over there and like needle the guy and be like, come on, man, you gotta let me back there. And then because I'm gonna do a video, and then also it might be actually the first day, that I say like, oh hey, can I actually do a video in the store? Plug your store, do all that kind of stuff. And then it's basically here's my purchase. This is what I would recommend.
You know, it would be another fun video, and I don't know if my local retro store they do this, but I've heard like some places like those like sometimes they'll have like a bucket of like actually Tim Setty Arcade, his retro store, like they'll have like a bucket of like unlabeled, untested Atari games.
Yeah, like mystery cards.
Yeah, for like $1 each or something. It'd be like
sweet.
Yeah. It'd be fun to buy like 5 or 10 of those.
Yeah, dude, they had those over at Too Many Games. There was a couple vendors that had buckets that was just like it just carts. Everything had fallen off or whatever, and they're just like, here it is. And then one vendor had the same thing, and it was and they said like mystery cart on them. Like, oh, this is awesome. I'm buying a couple of these. And then I actually like picked up one to buy it, and then there was a piece of tape that was on where the label should have been, and they wrote actually what the game was. I'm like, oh, you ruined it.
Oh man,
you ruined it. I would have bought them all. They were like $1. But like I would have bought like 20 of these things.
Yeah.
And then that's content for days. And then you're like, no, this one's actually Frogger. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, it'd be fun for the 2600 plus. Let's pop. But then if the card doesn't work though, then it's like, well, crap. Okay, it could be one of the. Then like maybe you pop it in the Retron or like OG Heart just to see what game is this.
Exactly. So, all right. So do we shift gears into continuing to talk about arcade things? Or do we shift gears to talk about handheld things?
Let's go to arcade first.
All right. So, something near and dear to my heart, which is ALU here and the AL Mini down here. All right. The Arcade Legends Ultimate mini and stuff might be receiving changes. Well, actually, the changes technically already came in the way of an update that's going to bring coin ops to its knees. I don't know about this. It's not a great time. That's not good times. That's the negative times right there. I understand why they would do that. They probably got yelled at finally by somebody. But do you know anything else about the story?
Let me bring up the I got the release notes. So kind of from just what I've watched and a few YouTubers, that's kind of what I heard people say, is that maybe somebody's cracking down. Maybe either somebody's cracking down, or I wonder if they're going to offer more of that stuff like for sale in their store. At Games does not provide support for third-party software. Blah blah blah. Owner's risk. That makes sense, but they kind of added, yeah. Do not interact. And then whatever this seven. But so here kind of like my thoughts on it. Like the main reason, probably, I know, you got it. Well, I think a lot of people got it, or I would want to get it, is because it had CoinOps X built into it, and the community had builds of that and of one sauce.
Sure. Yeah.
And it maybe initially in retail there was 600. I think now it goes on to 500. Sometimes you could find it for $300, like at a Sam's or Costco or whatever. Man.
It's a fantastic unit.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's like this. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife for arcade. It really is. If you're looking to get in and you don't want to do the individual arcade 1-ups and then basically build a mini arcade in your house, because you don't have the room, but you want to have the arcade experience. Everything about the thing is pretty awesome. The hardware is good. The fact that the ALU itself has the stick, the spinner, and the rollerball, all of that is good stuff. So it's interesting. So this is the one it's 5.71 that removes CoinOps X. So
actually, I think they might have did it because in 70 they said CoinOps X has been delisted from the Apex stores, no longer available to startup applications.
That's since firmware 5.70.
Yes.
So that's the change that is made in 5.71 that differs from anything from 5.70. From what I'm reading, I have another article on Reddit that says a similar thing. But they also had a FAQ on Reddit that I guess somebody pulled from the Legends website that asks, how do you update the firmware? You go on the internet and you do the firmware, whatever. What changes do you see? And it says the same thing. CoinOps has been delisted and no longer available to start.
You can share it if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let me put this up here.
But so that's the big thing. It's not like they blocked. It's they're delisting the app, which for me, what's happening. This is the one thing that I was always afraid of, because other devices, when you hack them, usually you can have control over what OS, but this at Games, they kept control over this for a reason.
Right.
And so for you, you never have to update the firmware, but what kind of sucks though is what if you buy one now that ships with 5.71? Hey, Tim.
What's going on?
We're talking about arcade stuff right on time.
Yeah. So then it says, okay, they're going to delist as a 5.71. They're going to delist CoinOps X. I'm not happy with the update. Can I downgrade to 5.70? They're going to let you do it. So that's actually pretty decent.
But the problem, though, is that I saw where people were saying that even 5.70 just they didn't delist it, but it broke.
Oh, it broke?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Or at least I'm not. That's what I was trying to find conflicting, because I hear one sauce and CoinOps, but I think if you're at 6.8, you're good, but at 7.0, it broke it, and then now maybe it seems that. See, there's kind of and now they removed it completely. It looks like with 7.1.
Huh. So wait, not happy with the latest for 5.1.7. Can I grab earlier prior to? Oh, so you can go to 5.70, but you can't go anything prior to 5.70 after you go to 5.71. Maybe that's what the thing was.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
I even searched like, is it an automatic update or can you choose to do it?
No, it's kind of, it's not forced, but it prompts you. It's like, hey, there's an update. So if you hit the wrong button one day and you don't stop it from finishing, then yes, it'll flash on you and you're no good.
Can you disable? Can you just like disable like automatic prompting for updates?
I don't know if you can disable it, but that's probably what I will do now. And I'm like, because I mean, most of the functionality of this machine is there for me. I mean, I've got everything I need. I don't need anything else. So
yeah,
like I'll just get on out of there. Yeah, Miss Arcade's like actual arcades. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, but yeah, I'm spoiled though, Mr. Shua, because I got retro. I got Yestercades down the street from the retro store I just mentioned in downtown Somerville. It's pretty awesome. And
I'm hoping that. Do you think? I mean, I don't know if it's possible. Hey, Atari Fan 72.
What's going on?
I wonder if it's possible if they can like update. Maybe if you're at 5, maybe update CoinOps X to work with it, or if you're a later version, maybe they can. I wonder if they can. Maybe somebody can like put like the apps X like on the stick. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe the community can fix it. Maybe they can come out with their own firmware to flash. I don't know.
So what they're gonna wind up doing is what some have already done, and that's like, because bypassing the ALU software isn't difficult, and a lot of people actually choose that over using the ALU software. I just liked having the best of both worlds option, where like the stuff worked and I could get official stuff from At Games, like the packs that I buy from the store, and I don't have to change anything or deplug things or whatever to maneuver it. But this basically just makes it so that unless at any time you're going to be forced to update because of some reason, there's no incentive to update anymore.
Yeah.
Because, but again, like I said, like there's nothing really that they needed to fix. There's nothing that's broken. There's nothing really that's like anything out of the ordinary. So you just don't update. And then what'll happen is if you have one that's not updated, the guys that are making, the sauce or whatever and all that kind of stuff, they're just going to make a version. All their updated versions will just be, just make sure you have a firmware, whatever. And then one of these days, what's going to happen is there'll be now what they're going to do is they're going to wind up jailbreaking the firmware.
I think they're going to have to.
As soon as that happens, so whatever. It's just like every other thing.
But because I think that the big problem, because I want to say like even if you're not too like tech savvy, that would like to use CoinOps X, you can buy like USB keys off of eBay. Like there's other ways around it. Right. The problem is going to be for somebody who's like maybe expecting you to have one of those keys. They buy it and it already has that latest firmware,
right?
And then maybe there aren't any other fixes, or they're not savvy enough. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's weird because like I thought mainly like At Games like they're making money off of selling the hardware. Like sure you can get those packs and stuff, but I get I just wish maybe they could have added a disclaimer. Maybe every time if you go over there saying, hey, just know At Games is not responsible. You're legally, by running this, you agree you're legally licensed to the. I wish they did something like that to protect themselves. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, right? Because everything's all about licensing and monies and all that kind of stuff. And also, Atari Fan, in case you missed the thing here, don't go to 5.71 or even 5.70 on your ALU. So don't update it if you're looking to keep CoinOps. Don't do it. But yeah, so I think maybe the reason why these things start to happen is because At Games got someone to talk to them about putting games on something, and it's probably going to be the ALU, or the At Games Legends series of things, right? And by dint of them getting into an agreement with this company, that company is then saying, look, you cannot do any of this CoinOps business anymore. So it's either we walk away or, we walk away from this deal or you do this. And the whatever they're working, whoever they're working with, it's enough for them to go, well, we're just going to have to whack this. And then the fans are going to get mad, but we don't have a choice.
Thanks, Nintendo.
And then maybe it's somebody like, like, oh hey, here's like we got the Play Choice pack, and you could turn your AOU into a Play Choice 10 because we got Nintendo. Like that's big. Or we got Sega. That's big.
Huge.
Like, so again, sometimes you got to play ball with the bigger companies because that they're dictating the rules. So I'm adding games to my iArcade, best main machine I own. Yeah. A lot of people still love that iArcade. I've seen it. It's pretty cool looking. But
what's neat? Like, I forget what the device is called, but it's only $25. The only problem is the guy that's doing it is doing it in like limited batches, so I don't know how many. But it's hilarious because they call it like the bankrupt edition, and like essentially, with this. But essentially, what's really neat about it, and that's why I said it's the best MAME machine, is that it runs off of MAME 2.1, and like there's a thing where you back up your firmware and then you add it. And the cool thing is, like, there's like templates for it, so you can like put a screenshot of the game, you can put the buttons, you can make it just look exactly like the iArcade templates. Yeah. And in addition to that, because it is off of MAME 2.1, all you have to do, you can like load up the ROM files and test it on your PC, so you can make sure everything is working and you have all the files. And then you can go ahead and add. Actually, Tim, I was wondering if you were going to do that, or if you were going to like show like some videos of like some games that you really like on that, because like Kong's R Us, he did the mystery encoder, that's what it's called. He did a whole video on that. So what's kind of neat, what's kind of good and bad is right now as it sits, it's kind of like, imagine for CoinOps X, if you had to add every game manually, that would take forever. So, but kind of the good thing about that is you can really curate a collection and not just throw everything on there. But I would imagine at some point too that there's going to be like community packs where you can just put all this stuff on there. But yeah, that's what I've heard. It's like the best MAME machine, but at least for something like that, like they wait for the company went out of business and then the community hacked it. So it's not like they were doing software pirate,
Right. Of course. Yeah. Mr. Shua is trying to get an MVS. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw. We're like, I don't know if like those builds are still floating around that have like all the Neo Geo games where you can unlock it. Plus, they added like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and some other.
Oh, did they really? It's pretty fun.
They added a few other ones, but at least it would, because it has 6 buttons. But yeah, that would at least be neat for like all the Neo Geo games.
Yeah,
because for something like that, I'm like, well, it is kind of silly if you're paying all this money and for have like a dedicated Neo Geo arcade, and because they never released any updates. There's like no other packs you can buy.
Right. Yeah, that's cool though. Hey, what's up, Ian?
Ian Hobbies. Everybody's stepped in the house. So yeah, I thought that was just kind of sad, because then it's like, one of those ways to play games is now that's like, now let's like take it away, and it's just,
that's cool.
Like, here's what really kind of like sucks about this when this does happen, is that like having arcade at home isn't easy. and kind of and this kind of bridge the gap, and just from various just from like watching like Retro Ralph to Scarlet Sprites, and actually like Sheen Lion's game, like her latest video where she got like a multicade, I forget where from, and like, but she still had to like fix some things like light bleeding, so it's kind of like, it's just like if you get a real arcade, you're gonna have to fix it up and do some stuff. If you get a multicade, depending on how much money you want to spend, you may have to like do some fixes to the thing, or you may have to build your own PC. Like you're gonna have to put in some money or some work. You know what I mean? Or it's like, or you can maybe just get like an arcade one-up, live with the controls, or play, just be happy with those games. Although I've seen some videos, like on the Simpsons one, where you can like hack it and load other, like the Android OS and load other stuff. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, arcade at home isn't easy, but Legends Arcade made that easier.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh well.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, again, the community is strong. There's always people there, so it's definitely a thing for sure.
Just be patient. There'll be like an unofficial Subnutto firmware.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's what's gonna happen.
Like you'll flash it back, and it'll have like the CoinOps X app in it, and
right.
Hey, Mr. Atari Creep.
What's going on, Chris? What's up, man? What is going on?
So yeah, I thought that was important enough to talk about, because it's kind of sad. And
yeah, well, no, it's definitely an important story. I mean, it actually directly affects things going on here over at the Calling All Retro Gamer side of things, because if I didn't know what this thing was all about, I could have inadvertently just updated myself out of doing Fun for Fives.
That's why, dude. That's why I sent you a text. I was like, because I think I'd known about it for a day, and I was like, oh yeah, Rich has. I'm like, let me let him know. I'm like, don't update.
Yeah, no, not happening. Sorry, guys, not updating here. So, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Gauntlet Legends in the arcade was also that was a good cabinet. That really good, but Gauntlet Legends also like reminds me of because that was kind of like in the same vein. When I get introduced to that game, I got introduced to that game and the D&D side scrollers at the same time because I was in Florida at an arcade and they had them all. It was such a crazy things. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks, Phantom. Yeah, I mean, hey, when we get news like this, we definitely like talking about it and make sure people know for sure. So.
Yeah, it just kind of goes. It just kind of goes back to the whole thing. Like when you buy like a certain product or device and you really don't have control over it. You know what I mean? That's just kind of was like. I hope going forward, like on new boxes, there should be a disclaimer. They're not going to do this, but there should be a disclaimer saying that like CoinOps X has been removed or you can't bring your own games or.
Yeah, they put something on the box that says like this has 5.71 or higher.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, so what do we got? We got this last little thing here.
Okay, we can talk about this.
Talk about some of that.
Sure.
While we're talking about that, I might do some jumping.
Oh yeah, you were gonna do some gaming while we were.
So let's move into this topic here about your struggles with that as I knock things over, and then I'm gonna head into the VCS thing, and we're gonna play some ski jumping, I think.
Yeah. IPS. So this is the me problem. So I've had this is just regular GBA, and I've had this like I don't know for a year or two now. Anyways, since then I've had to get like a newer prescription of glasses, and this is just the front light. It's not a 101. I should mention, it's the regular one. And so like here where I've got a light like beaming down up above me, I can kind of play it in here pretty good. But even though it has a backlight, like you still need to have good lighting. The screen's a little bit scratched. Because this it wasn't my initial GBA. So, but the point is, it's not like. So here's what I don't know. I don't know if getting the Evercade EXP and having a Steam Deck. So maybe it's a combination of getting a little bit older, needing newer glasses, and seeing what much better screens look like. But so it's like okay. So my kind of dilemma is that like I'd like this with a better screen, and the majority of like actual real cartridges, let's say that I have are they're GBA, and this is compatible with it. But I'm like, okay, so like let's say like it's like you could get a screen. I could do it myself, but I don't really know how to solder, and that's a little tricky. I could just get one of those. You could just maybe for Christmas get one of those. But then it's kind of like, okay, so I can play GBA, but then I kind of want the initial Game Boy and Game Boy Color experience. I don't have as many games. And and depending on the crazy thing is like some of these devices are priced from $200 if you want like the unhinged SP to like the metal one. Like these have gone up to like $500 because they're a lot more expensive in their custom. So it's like, man, it's like the cost of a Steam Deck. It's like, well, why don't you just play it on your Steam Deck? Could go out. But it's more about the nostalgia, having a vertical handheld. You also want to get a flash card. So it's like so then it kind of comes back to how bad do I have to play an original? I don't necessarily care per se with an original hardware. It's just kind of more about the experience. Maybe I don't want to mess with an OS, but then like Analog Pockets, right? They're exclusive as hell to try to get. Like they had like the new like glow in the dark ones, but for me, I don't. I guess it's for certain people who want it. For me, it would be dumb because it wouldn't be nostalgia. Like I don't want, like the white one would be ideal to look more like a Game Boy. But
right.
Otherwise, it just kind of has like that ugly like green. Maybe if Blaze put out more like Game Boy carts, maybe that other form factor would be good. But then there are other like various like like handhelds like the Mayu Mini Pluses and that other like Amber, where would be perfect. Have the layout. They don't have analog sticks. You can load custom firmwares on them, but I'm like, yeah, I just kind of, maybe I just kind of want something mainly to play like Game Boy Color, and then maybe like a Game Boy Advance, or maybe like a Game Boy Advance, but for me, I don't know. I guess it's for certain people who want it. For me, I don't. I guess it's for certain people who want it. For me, I just kind of, maybe I just kind of want something mainly to play like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, because there's still like your Zeldas and things, and like your Final Fantasies. There's like stuff that will never ever see the light of day on Evercade due to licensing in Nintendo.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
But yeah, of all the different type of handhelds, and that's why it kind of comes into like I wouldn't be able to get that and a 2600 plus for Christmas. It's kind of like one or the other, but it just kind of depends upon things. But then for both things, for nostalgia, I'm like, well, how bad? Maybe I'm like, well, just load MU Deck on your Steam Deck and be done with it, and then maybe. But I don't know. I kind of wanted the device to pick up. Plus, also I would use it also to mainly for handhelds. So like the Game Boys, and then like Neo Geo Pocket and Game Gear. Like it would just be fun just to have something, just to have like. Because then it would add to the nostalgia, even though those are, not the right form factor. It just would be neat to have a handheld with a bigger screen that's IPS, where like it fills the whole screen, and so you would get that effect of like, original hardware. So
right.
But yeah, I keep going back and forth, and then like another Evercade cart will come out, and then I'll forget about it, and I won't care, and then maybe some. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those. It's just kind of one of those weird things that and it's purely just out of nostalgia, like just now being able to play one of those games and just replicate being able to play it on a Game Boy, kind of like the form factor, more than anything.
Right.
Let's see what to say. I modded my GBA. Yeah, Pocket blows it away. Yeah, see that's the that's the thing though. If either you're patient enough or you can get one to pre-order. Well, then the neat thing too about the Pocket is then you can have the best of both worlds. You can still play your carts, and then you can soft mod it with the various different cores. So then you can still play. You don't have to buy another flash drive.
Yeah,
I'll be a little cheaper. Yeah, the thing, which is kind of funny because my little Pixel did a video on it, which they do way overcharge like for shipping, which is kind of. But it's like the thing that's it's like $225. Plus, like shipping is another $25, and then with the tax, and then because they're like in Hong Kong, so it's gonna be on like $300. So that's
yeah.
So
but if it's like, if that's if that is what your goal is, right, is to get like the most authentic experience. It's one of those things. It's like that's for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, because it's either that or what's the other? Let me bring it up. The other handheld. I know I brought it up on Evercade. But then it's just kind of like the Embernic, the RG. Here, hold on, let me feel 35XX. So then it's like because then you have to ask yourself, well, then how important is it to you to be able to play the physical carts?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's kind of the other thing. So it's like like you said, it depends like kind of like how authentic or how nostalgic that you can get out of it. Okay, let me share this on maybe.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm trying to share it on Amazon because they have it like an AliExpress, but they don't ship to the US, so that doesn't do me any good. Actually, though, hold on. I think Embernic is going to show.
While he's doing that, Tim's an Atari fan. I like it. This is pretty good. This is that chill game that you just kind of play, and you just do your thing. What's this? This is the new Embernic.
Yeah, it's funny. It looks even squunched. Yeah, so right now they only ship to China. But I mean, I've seen it like, $57 if you get it from them. Like Retro Game Corp did a great video comparing this to like a Miu Mini and all that. But you can still, you can get it like off of Amazon for like I think like 70 or something. But see, like this, you can get there's like an atomic blue, like I think there's like a atomic purple see-through shell, black. But this one kind of looks like the most nostalgic. But I don't care about the back buttons, but it has like a really good. Has like a really good screen, and I can't make it any bigger. But so then that's the other thing. Like, do you just get it? It comes with the ROMs. Use that, or just use your own. Because you can put like Onion OS on it, or if you want to go more bare bones, you can put like MinUI, which doesn't even like show you screenshots or anything. So like you can kind of get it down there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then that's like, like does that scratch that itch? Just gonna be able to have a device.
Yeah.
And that's, and so because as much I do, like as much as I do love the Steam Deck, either if you have it in sleep mode or if you have to turn it on, go and load the game, I am a little bit spoiled by this thing, this is even like faster than even like my Evercade. So it's like like this you can put in sleep mode, you can resume from save. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. So just to have something that's just dedicated to that where you can quickly go into games. But I mean, by all, like the thing that was compared to like if you want to have a vertical handheld that can play like GBA or Game Boy through GBA, yeah, like the Analog Pocket, like it's going to be cheaper because I'm like I don't need a dock, I don't need any of that other crap. But if you can get one, right, and the screen is great, you know what I mean, and then you can load all kinds of cores, and even if you want to play like anything else on it, you can, and then you don't have the best, and you don't have to get a flash card. But if you can get one,
yeah.
So yeah, that's just kind of like my, my dilemma with things, ed problems. But yeah,
That's
either way, yeah, if I did either get one of those, yeah, it would either be that, over the 2600 plus. We'll see. Maybe they'll come back now that the glow in the dark one sold out.
About the pockets?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Analog's weird with what they do.
Yeah. Like I'll be like, as a company, I really don't like them because I don't like how it's like, oh, we have these limited things for this very limited time, and you may get other fees from the bank, and we're gonna like charge you like $50 per adapter for, like they, you know what I mean? Like they really charge you for every little thing, and they make it difficult to get their stuff.
I mean, so like the one thing that they can say about like that is like, okay, well, their quality's there, right? So you get the thing, and it's gonna be quality, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. The only problem though is, is it going to be one of those things that, like, is it because you're just in the right place at the right time, and that's why you get it? Like, or are they in the business of serving as many customers as possible in order to do the thing? So like that, it's like, I don't know. I'm not.
See, that's my point. Like they don't like. Versus like some other companies where they do pre-order, like pretty much any, like the new Mega Drive, right? It's kind of like that wasn't as limited. Like pretty much anybody who wanted it was probably going to get it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, see, the problem is I wish that like Analog would have done the same thing that Valve did, where you just put in $5, or you could even be $10. You know, because it kind of depends. And then it comes up. Then it's kind of like, yeah, do I have the funds at the right time? And then at least you could make a decision. Maybe that would cut down on scalpers, because once Valve did that, like, for the longest time now, like that's eliminated all like scalping on eBay. People trying to like, so which Analog Pockets are like crazy. Like people are wanting like anywhere from like $500 to $1,000, depending if they're like sealed and what.
Right.
Accessories and things. But yeah, but to your point, I can just feel like, oh, they're more concerned. Like, I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to make money, but it's like, hey, maybe you might make more money in the long run. Like, do that. Like, make somebody put down $5, so you just can't have a bunch of people like waste your time with the pre-order. But like, just do that, and then if it pops up, then either
right.
I mean, 1,000 people do that. That's like $5,000 just for doing nothing. So it's like,
I mean, yeah. Either way, it's just I mean, again, the business model is working out for them. So I'm not going to say anything anyway about whether or not they should or shouldn't do a thing. The only thing though is, for me, and that's a good comparison.
To Apple,
I just don't. For me, I just don't get it. Like why they're choosing to do the things they are. Up to and including even too, like they did the NT and the SG, and then people love them. They all say they're great products, and they're like, well, that was fun, but we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what? Why? Because you're like, what if I wanted to get one? Well, now I'm just like beat. Like, because that's you're like, oh well, I guess I don't get one.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I hate that. It's like the FOMO.
And
they make the FOMO
that's
real.
Interesting. I mean, that's just an interesting choice, right? Like it's like I don't get why you would do that, but
it's frustrating. Oh,
Yeah.
Tim says he's on the fence about. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that because I know like he's got the original hardware and the means to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I had an original 7800, and I had an original 2600. I have a Retron, but it's just like I mean, unless you're doing so, like the reason why I'm doing this, right? The main reason why I'm getting the 2600 plus is because I do this stuff, right? Where I'm a face on the internet and I do a lot of stuff that's particularly based on Atari and Master System and others, right? But like I wanted a way of playing 7800 games in HD that's convenient to me, and this device is 100% that device. So like that's for me. I'm just boom done. Like that's what does it for me.
Yeah.
So
Atari fan. Well, yeah, with the name Atari fan, you're required by Atari law. No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pull the trigger extras, buy more 700 games. Well, the other thing too is they didn't said this was a limited edition, right? Like it sounds like it's going to be something you'll be able to get for a while.
The 2600 plus? No, yeah, it should be you just keep getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did it. I think I did it. I did it. Nice.
Oh, hey. Shooting contraption. I'm torn on the 2600 plus. Can't decide. Hey, we got a new face in the channel. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, Obsidian's awesome. Yeah. He's one of the minds behind the update on Doodle Taxi.
Ooh.
He's also featured in Doodle Taxi as one of the people you must save, and all sorts of other cool stuff. Plus, speaking of Atari VCS, he himself might be putting out a game sometime in the somewhat near future.
Ooh.
Onto the VCS himself, which is cool.
Oh, hey, Geek Story.
But hey, what's up, Nick? But yeah, it's friend of the channel, Obsidian.
Heck yeah. Or maybe I should say before they were lurking, first times noticed.
Yeah, maybe they're hanging out. So yeah, I love the new carts with Berserk and Run and Jump. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think Run and Jump's awesome as a cart. Like and it's like, and it's just like the more you can just keep putting out carts of things, like that would just be epic.
Yeah, it's so what's interesting, and who knows, maybe Atari will pave the way for this. But it's like I kind of wonder at some point, maybe if somebody said, "Hey, we should go back to our roots and we should put a new system in carts," and someone's like, "No, we need to come out with something modern. We'll have the games emulate it. Everything will be digital. Kind of see how it does." And then finally, they realized, hey, people actually want the ability to play carts. Maybe whether that was Evercade that inspired, who knows? And so they're the only company, that's actually coming out with a system that can play physical media for an official company, right? Like Nintendo isn't doing this, Sega isn't doing this. Yes, there's other clones and other things, but it's kind of neat that they're the first company that's coming out with their own official product that can play like their old stuff that they don't actually sell anymore.
Right.
It would be kind of like if if Nintendo came out with a new Nintendo that could do the same thing. And so it's interesting. It's interesting to me because I get why, I guess someone like Nintendo, they're like, hey, we don't want to compete against themselves. But then, they're like, we want everybody to buy our Switch. We want everybody to buy everything digital. No, actually, no, we want everybody to rent everything digital.
Right.
Which is worse. But with Atari, though, I'm glad that they finally see, hey, there are people and I fall into this category. People, I mainly play games, on Steam. Some of my, depending if they're, depending on the requirements, some of my on my PC, but mainly on my Steam Deck. And I can, I'm pretty, so like someone like me, I wouldn't get a VCS because I have this, I can play everything I that I want that way. But maybe I would want to actually get a 2600 plus, they understand, right? There are certain people who won't get a VCS and would maybe be interested in this, or people like yourself who would buy both. I like that. They get their, I feel like they get their customer, because for me, I always say after when the GameCube launched, I kind of feel like Nintendo kind of lost sight of what their audience and everything was. And it's and I feel like now Atari, they've taken it in baby steps. They did recharged games. I mean, when that Missile Command, initially when it was kind of like that free to play game, Like that, I was like, people weren't sure if this was serious. And then they made that into a full real game, and they started coming out with these other recharge games and Atari 50.
Yeah.
And so like now people are taking them seriously. They're putting out quality stuff. And so they've gotten there. But with Nintendo, I wish they would realize, like, there's someone like myself who would never buy a Switch. But if they had like a Nintendo, you could play old school carts and re-release physical carts. That might,
Yeah, that's true.
That might actually be a thing. So yeah, I'm glad Atari is seeing. Although too, I think so here's the other thing too. Of all the different consoles that you could get, Atari's in a unique position. What I mean is like, let's say if they made like a Fairchild or something like, but that would just be pure for like collect. Like there's not like as much nostalgia. Something like an Odyssey, not as much, but like the Atari, right? Like there's like people like us in our 40s who grew up with that. It was one of their first systems. There's like for this product, what I'm trying to say, I think there's more like nostalgia. Like there's more of a player base of people who would actually buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that's not a collector. That's what I'm trying to say. Like not a collector that's like, oh, I have to get this other mini to put on the shelf.
Right. Because there's probably thousands of families still in the U.S. alone that have a box of old Atari games still, and maybe not something to play on, and that could be a real thing. Like you go to garage sales and stuff like that all the time, and then you could see it. So like having a device you can just slap stuff on there, like that's rad, man. It's really cool. Mr. Shua asked, is Atari sending who one for a review? I'm not sure.
I wished.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about either one of us, no. Atari's not sending me anything for anything. I'd love to. It was sure. I mean, I'd do it. You want to say, hey, somebody even Atari watching? You want to ship me over something to review? I'll review it all day long.
Right.
But yeah, no. So, and even more for me, it's like I now have to actually wait until either a holiday or the ship date if it's coming in the birthday thing to even know whether or not I'm getting one, which makes me nervous, by the way.
Yeah.
That makes me totally nervous. The good news is my birthday far precedes the whatchamacallit, the actual cutoff date for pre-orders. So if things go awesome for my birthday, then hooray, I don't have to worry about anything. And if it's like not so amazing, it's still my birthday. So I'll be like, all right, well,
that's awesome.
To me, and it just pre-order it.
Anyway. I kind of feel the good thing about Atari is I kind of feel like that they're like the Gene Simmons of like the console world, because it's like with kids, like they license, they put out like, and they can make money off of it. Like you can even get like Kiss coffins, which is like,
yeah, right.
Which is like nuts. But that's what I mean though. Like they don't like, they'll license out to whoever. So like Atari's like, hey, we've got carts for Evercade. We have licensed. You can buy our games from like the PSN or Xbox now. Which makes sense. But like they're not like, do I dare say they're maybe not like like Capcom or Namco, where they're like, which Namco like actually has like a bizarre like license agreement, like pages of a license agreement. Like they're afraid of like, hey, you buy it on this. Nope, we can only license this in this certain mode or embedded, because if you get this, you won't buy that other device. Like I feel like Atari's like, hey, we as long as you buy our products in some way, like. Mm-hmm. Like we get it. And so that's why, like, even if people do end up, jailbreaking this thing, either way, Atari's still making money off of it, because you're buying the physical hardware. They're coming out with the newer cards. People are going to want to collect and get those. So that's why I don't think they're concerned, because probably if you are jailbreaking it, because you're playing those rare cards, or even if you're somebody who just wants to be dedicated to Atari, I mean, either way, you're going to be given the money.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one way that, I mean, in my opinion, as far as like jailbreaking the thing, right? There's only one way or one reason why you would, and that's been addressed by a couple of different people here in the chat, and that's if homebrew games just definitively do not work.
I know.
And if homebrew games do not work, yeah, you're going to see part of this 2600 plus community really get under the hood of this thing and break it to the point where it works for them. But I will say this. they've been like, I know for a fact that in the background, Atari has been talking to a lot of like higher end fan bases. They've been talking to Albert from Atari Age. They've been talking to a number of different like people in the retro community that are huge collectors or whatever, and they seem to be listening to the wishes of the community. So, although there are some that they're listed as untested or whatever, at least they listed games like Circus Convoy in their compatibility list. Now it says that it's untested, but that doesn't mean it also didn't say that it was failed either. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if a game like Circus Convoy can work, right, and be certified to work, then there's hope for the homebrewers, because the way that Circus Convoy was created was very similar to the way that some of these homebrews are created. So, but just the fact that they put it on the list means that they are aware that there is a homebrew and third-party community for the Atari 2600 after the year like 1990. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
wow. So Tim has. So you know what, dude? I was looking at your dude. Yeah. Congrats. You're like nearing like 4,000 subs. Yeah. Dude. Atari should send you one. I mean, for the definitely, dude. Because we're like,
for 2600 plus. Yeah. I mean, if you got 300 carts,
yeah.
What better way is like here.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Fill our compatibility list. Yeah. There's your videos.
He's got.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. He's got the. Yeah. And that's why. Yeah. And that's why I think. Yeah. Last time I checked, I think I saw he had like 2,500, 3,000 subs. So congrats, dude. Yeah. He's nearly at 4,000 subs. So I think he's got the subs. He's got the game. Like, dude, like send him one. It's like, yeah, none of us are like at Metal Jesus level, but come on, you shouldn't have to be there to.
Well,
plus, we're bigger fans than Metal Jesus of Atari. Sorry.
Well, that's the one thing. It's like, it doesn't, to me, if I was a company, right, it doesn't matter what your sub count is. It's like if I hand you a thing and the intention is I'm handing it to you so that you're going to do content on it, as long as you're going to do content, go for it.
So, Mr. Shua,
yeah.
So
right?
it's not the same thing, but you can for $10. And actually, I think I got mine on sale for 99 cents from the Steam store. You can buy it. And actually, and on this channel, I made a video of how you can play it on the Steam Deck. You have to use like an older Proton version, because the way that he has the emulate, like the way that the developer made the emulator, because it's like an enhanced cart. Like you have to use an older, like I think some people were wanting just for the ROM. Like, can you just buy the ROM? I think he was saying no, it doesn't work. I don't know, but yeah. But I was speaking of which, who they need to send one to. Either way, there's going to be a video. I think John Hancock said he ordered one, and he's got like a ton of aftermarket games. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for, is because he made a video and even said that he's going to test the hell out of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and again, I hope the community really does, because.
Yes.
Like give that feedback directly to Atari, good or bad. Like, hey, I'm excited about the thing because I'm excited about playing 7800 games on a big TV that's modern and with like little resistance. That's the reason why I'm getting the thing. But how awesome would it be for them to really put the time into this new, because it is a newer emulation. It's not the same emulation as the Retron, because I look at the Retron's compatibility list to the 2600 Plus's compatibility list, and there's mismatches. There's games that work on the 2600 Plus that are listed as fail on the Retron 77. So it's got to be either a newer version of this emulator or a completely different one.
Yeah, I don't think they're even using Stella. I think they're using a new like Atari custom emulator, right?
Yeah, right. So, exactly.
But here's the good thing though. I think either way, like let's say when all those games do get like tested, if they don't work, then I think if people start to see like a lot of like YouTube channels, like, hey, then they can update the firmware. And if I had to guess, I would hope that Atari would be on top of updating the official firmware to kind of maybe give people reasons like not to jailbreak it, like just update it and play.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's the thing that I'm hoping for, and it's one of the questions that has been left unanswered. And I actually reached out to Atari to kind of like get the ball rolling with like those kind of question things.
Ooh.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm just a guy with a face on the internet, right? To them. But if it's not like I'm not looking there. I'm not coming to their offices with a pitchfork. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, hey, like you guys want to talk, it's great. But I know that there's going to be questions, and there currently are questions for, like we just talked about, most of them, for the fans. But I mean, if you don't have a reason to answer it, or like if you have a good reason not to answer it, you can no comment it, and it's fine. But but things like flashing new versions of the firmware to get better compatibility. I mean, come on,
Oh, that should be that should be this channel's new code. We're just guys with the faces. We're just guys with the faces. We're just guys with this. But
That's it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. See, my whole thing, and my whole thing with aftermarket consoles, and whether they're like a clone console.
Obsidian says he's a flash. He's a
flashing
VCS.
Yeah, but my whole issue with any aftermarket console, like for me, I don't care. Like the only thing I like about FPGA is that because the compatibility is going to be there. I don't care. Hardware versus software. The only thing I don't like about aftermarket consoles, because you have clone consoles, is you don't know the compatibility. So I think once Atari alleviates that, like the software, like I'm sure that there'll be like some uber nerd out there that would show like a CRT side by side and maybe show like the 0.2 difference in the hues. Like I don't care. You know what I mean?
No, that's the thing where it doesn't. I'm with you on that. As far as the emulation goes, if it's close enough where it just feels right to me, then we're fine. Like it could be like, oh well, it's a half a millisecond off because of whatever. As long as I can play and it plays the way like my nostalgia feels, right? Like then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all that stuff.
Yeah, I would say anybody that's played like Atari on something like an Evercade or another device, if you feel a nostalgia is going to be there, then you're good, because that is an HD, and you don't even have and you're not even using the official controllers.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I roll back my brain to the early days of the Evercast, it was just me and Pete talking about stuff, and we do Atari Collection 1. And we're talking about those Atari games, the number one thing that I said, and I still stand by this, and the OG handheld, the reason I liked that D-pad so much is because for whatever reason, when they programmed the emulation on the D-pad of the original Evercade handheld felt almost identical to the feeling that I got from using my regular joystick on my 7800 Pro controller. I don't know why it felt that way, but it felt that way to me. And I was able to just get in the zone and just start wrecking, all those games that I used to play. It felt exactly like I was playing it. I know I was a completely different configuration, right?
Yeah.
But it just felt to me like that's how it played. And I'm like, awesome. And that, so well done on that. So I know that the emulation stuff can get there. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to put in the time and effort.
Yes.
And to Mr. Shua's point, and Obsidian's point, or whatever, the console that's sitting right to my left that I was just playing ski jumping on. It's this little console that could, and they're still updating it. They're still providing support for it. They're doing whatever, and no one's talking about the thing, right? We've got our little niche community, and this niche community that we have for this thing is awesome, and I love it. But some of these companies that make devices like this would have turned around and walked away by now.
Yeah.
But here these guys are, they're chugging along, and I got to give them a lot of credit for actually continuing to do that kind of support. And not only are they doing that support, this past year, 2023, there were probably, I should look and do the math on it, but I think there were more releases in 2023 than on the VCS's first year and a half, maybe combined. Maybe even 2 years. Like there's just the fire hose is opened, and we're just getting game after game after game on this thing, and it's not stopping. This month, there's 2 releases slated that were someone was just talking about on Twitter, plus 2 official releases, I think, plus maybe something else. Like that's to the end of September. It's crazy.
Favorite console, yeah. Well, you know what? So, and you know what's funny about it? Because I don't own a VCS, but I benefit from it too because like you'll do a video or Tim will do a video.
Yep.
And what I think is great because like any modern online store, there's just like a bazillion games. And let's say they take a great game from like 2015 or, that's like 3 to 5 years old, actually usually 5 or so years old. And it's usually like something where like the $5 or $10, like it's priced right for an indie game.
Yeah.
And like, and it's like 100%. New to me. And it's like, and those are the kind of indie games I like to look for, like indie games that are like 3 to 5 years old. And
it's a spotlight machine.
Yes, exactly. It's not, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just games that I've never found ever on the Steam store or the Switch store. And then just, they're awesome. They're already well tested because half these games had seen life, in another release. But they're getting attention, because there's a whole bunch of people that have these devices that are hungry for content, and the devs are seeing it, and more of them are coming over, which is great. So like, I mean, keep them coming.
So you know what's funny about this? Like when we have this, like now I get fired. So that's what I mean. I keep going back and forth between, do I want an Atari 2600 Plus? Do I want another?
Or did you go get VCS?
Yes.
I mean, Obsidian's got a point. The summer sale all-in bundle is not. That's not terrible. What is it, $224 on Atari.com? That's a console, both controllers, and it's pretty solid. I mean, but yeah, man. Like I can't like be happy enough about this thing, and I'm so glad I got one. When I got it, and I actually got to thank Pete, because he went in and he got it and he's like, oh, this is really cool, and he got all hype, and you know how like this like the Pete FOMO effect.
Yes.
When he gets all excited about something and he's all like, whatever. He got me into Evercade, right before it came out. He's like, I pre-ordered mine. I want to do a podcast. I want to talking about this stuff. Like, come on, Rich, just grab one. Just join in with me. I'm like, all right, fine. I don't know. What is this? What is this thing? And both decisions do not regret at all.
You know what? That is true. And maybe we need to, something we might maybe bring up on Saturday. We need to bring up an Evercast and remind people that I will say, and I will give Pete this title, that he's like the father of the Evercade community. And, not that there weren't like, there were other YouTubers and other people out there that did play it, but I want to say like, but if I had to give one person credit, he would be the one that kind of like looked at Evercade for what it was. Didn't just look at it at a negative light. He started Evercast. He pulled people, and you know what I mean? So like, I think sometimes people
definitely a lot of credit.
Like people forget like, hey, his channel isn't maybe not be as big as Metal Jesus, but let's not take away from the effect that if it wasn't for him, like he's contributed hugely to the Evercade. Not just talking about as a customer, but like bringing out like this channel wouldn't exist, Evercast wouldn't, what I mean? Like so many things wouldn't exist if like Pete never.
He's just a positive force, right?
Otherwise, I think if not, I think there would be like there's probably like an Ed out there in some like sad timeline that's just like none of us never met, and I just don't have that many views, and it's just a weird, it's just like it's like a retro channel that's just kind of like lost and doesn't, Evercade never existed. I hate to think of that reality.
Obsidian's like, I should buy a 6th VCS.
Well, you know what? There was a time, and maybe I don't know. If it was $50, there was that time where GameStop was clearing it out and you could get them for $100. Like, it was the black version.
I bought 3 that day.
Yeah, that was the time to get it.
Yeah, it was. Well, so I bought 3 thinking that actually at that time I thought you might jump in. I thought the Atari Creep who did jump in was going to jump in, and then I thought there was going to be someone else.
Yeah.
And at the end of that day, after I did the order, you were like still on the fence and weren't too sure. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to keep it. And that's actually the one that's in Studio B. The other person that was going to do it actually found one of theirs in a local store. It was like closer to them. So like they didn't get that one. And then the other one I did actually send to Chris, but I sent both of them to Chris. And I'm so glad I got the extra one, because that became the 1 of 1 Good Times edition, like personally painted by the Atari Creep, which was awesome. So yeah, I mean that was super, super cool. But yeah, hold on just a second.
Anyways, I froze too. I think you're still on mute.
Oh yeah. So oh yes, Lloyd says I have 2 thanks to winning the purple one. Yes, because he was the winner.
Yeah, and
So,
see, it's funny because and again, it kind of depends on where you are in life, what you're in, what you're into, what you have for funds, and that might have been something another poet would have been interested in. So
exactly.
yeah, that's it's all
yeah.
it's all crazy.
Yeah, Pete and the Atari Creep are the reason I did as well. There, Mr. Shua. Because again, it's like that positivity, And then, well, I mean, for me, there's also like the dot, and then I played it, and I was like, all right, I'm in. So, but yeah, this doggy face has now entered the scene, and he's all about trying to go out, I think. So let's do some sort of merch and get your VCS. Yeah, man. Let's crowdfund Ad getting a VCS. I mean, like, but for real though, like, yeah, I don't know, like, you and I should talk offline and see if we could search one out or whatever, because that would be kind of cool. Because if you had one, then there would be no excuse. You'd have to do content.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you're right. I couldn't just have it sit there and
talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh no, we would have to talk about cool games.
Heck yeah.
So, but speaking of that, well, I guess we could roll into final thoughts, because
yes,
if we don't run into final thoughts, this doggy man's gonna let me know by way of either wooing or doing something he shouldn't inside. He's got to go.
You know what? Like in Texas, it's been so hot that I know a lot of dog owners have had to get like this kind of little like plastic like booty so you can like put on dogs' feet so they can walk. To take them for a walk. I was like, when I go out for my walks every morning, I do see people but hey, if your dog has to go in the afternoon, it's not like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, what could we do? Mr. Shua's gonna hit us up on the side. He's like, I'm serious. Let's do it. I'm like, hey, I'm ready.
Spread the word. Spread the word. Get people to join my membership for just $1.99 a month. Just get a bunch of seriously,
getting a whole bunch of people for like
get
a 2-month sub to Ed's channel, and then
just
we go. Oh, Ian sent me a Discord on whatchamacallit. He sent me a DM on Discord, is what I should say. I will have to check that out in a momento. But also, what do we have going on while I'm hitting buttons over here?
Sure. One of these days we'll get back to putting out other like retro content that's not live on this channel. We both will.
Yes. Absolutely. And also, we're speaking of trying to grow the community. We actually did some cool stuff by throwing us up in places that are not just YouTube. However, we need people to hit buttons first, because I tried to do the simultaneous live stream here on YouTube and on Rumble, which is apparently growing at an exponential rate for gaming content. So I figured, hey, well, I mean, if we can literally stream in 2 places, and now thanks to the GTC, we can literally stream in 2 different places at once. Like, why not, right? But apparently there's rules, and those rules are, if you have 5 followers or more, just 5, then you can do it. But you can't do it if you have under 5, and we have 3. And it's like, oh man. So as soon as we get some more followers over on the card channel over in the Rumble Zone, then we're gonna simulcast our shows, so that we can get some more people hanging out, which would be awesome. And speaking of other things that are awesome, let me hit this button. This is what was shared by Ian. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, cool. He got one of those.
That's a good time. That's a good time.
God, those glow in the dark ones. See, if it always looked like that, then it would be
right. That is cool. That is very, very cool.
Nice. You jumped on it and got it.
That's rad. Thanks for sharing, man. That is a rad time. So anyway, oh man.
Oh, speaking of Rich, let me ask you this. Because like when I was talking about channel membership. So what's new? For memberships, I do different outtakes and things. Actually, one of those things, outtakes and derps. And I'll ask you because you're a channel member. Do you think I can tease just 10 seconds of that? Just 10 seconds here.
Why not?
Just 10 seconds. I always don't want to play the whole thing because it's not fair to other members. But
yeah. I think that's cool. I think it's fine.
And I think I'm at a point. I think I'm at a spot where there isn't cussing. I think. Because I could have skipped it through the intro. So yeah. So that's one of the things I've been doing, outtakes and derps. Where before in the past that goal would just get deleted, but now I'm like, let me just kind of save that. I'll do just about 10 seconds to 108. So did I share my screen? Okay.
Yep.
I could have too soon. Try again. I said 10 seconds. I'll do one. Do one more. There we go. Yeah, I should do commentary on myself. But yeah, so it's just nice. it's things like that because I just wanted to show them up and then I was fumbling my things or sometimes you just say stuff. But we mentioned away getting a VC. Yeah, just have 20 people just sub to my channel and have them stay there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we can get it there.
You get stuff like that. I also did a tour. Actually, members voted on it. Did a tour of what you don't see. And actually, I changed the levels. They're just a 199 and just a 299 for now. I just simplified it. I had some other different other levels and voting on things and crazy stuff. But as we get more people, I would maybe open that up. Oh, so a card T-shirt. So what's interesting about that is once we get to 500 subs on this channel, then we can also have memberships, and then you can also link a merch store.
Yep.
So maybe that's
Yeah, I mean, we're getting kind of close. So we just gotta rock some more peeps hanging out. We could definitely do that. So.
But otherwise, I guess as far as what's on next week, or actually, it'll be Wednesday at midnight Central, where I do my I'm gonna do my updated video for Sydney Hunter, because based upon everybody's feedback, I do my initial thoughts and impressions, and after playing the games for 2 weeks, and more in depth retrospect. So that'll happen tomorrow, and hopefully some other time we'll both do more content for this channel.
Sweet, man. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm trying to unbury myself over on our side over here on Bacon Ice Cream, and then also oh man, I really want to do that. So because we've gotten 2 or 3 more weeks past the last time we did the thing, I'm gonna do one of those fireside chat multi Night at the Arcade. One credit quick look. It's been so long since I've done that. I've forgotten the name of the show.
Right.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do those. So that's kind of cool. And then eventually, yes, because it's been past the actual date of the quote unquote unofficial release. We're over on Bacon Ice Cream. We're gonna do some more card stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a box of the Chapter 1 booster packs. Opened an entire box with a buddy of mine.
I didn't even know that existed until you showed.
Oh yeah, dude, and it's gonna be a pretty crazy time, and I'm gonna keep teasing this until I finally show it to somebody. But
I'd be curious to see if they use the mana system, or if it's just you can play X amount of card. Always curious.
Oh, I mean, it's so actually this, right? The back of the card is actually how you use it for your resources, and then how you get resources is you play something from your hand face down in front of you, and then you use it to exert is what they call it.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like sort of like sacrificing cards to play other cards, kind of.
Yep.
Sweet.
And that's how it goes. And then like it's a race. You have to, instead of like knocking down your opponent to 0, you have to build yourself up to 20.
Oh, okay. I wasn't wondering if this
gathering lore is what it's called.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, man, Night at the Arcade, it definitely has been in a while. Yeah, and I'll make sure that I put it out early enough, like a day or two in advance or whatever. I was like, I'll try to do it over the weekend maybe, and then if we get the time, then I'll do it. And then hopefully by then we can get those 2 extra people to hit the button over there, and we can start actually doing the dual stream.
Right.
Cool. So anyway, that's it. That's what I got anyway. So I need to go let this doggy man out. Reserve magic. Yeah. So they actually call it ink. Like the resource, instead of mana, it's ink. So
That's
then
cool.
you instead of casting things, you draw them into existence, and then the first turn they have summoning sickness, just like Magic the Gathering. So instead of like, oh, they have summoning sickness, they call it, oh, well, you can't use this character because their ink isn't dry yet, and it takes a turn for that phase
cool
to happen. So it's like, okay, I get it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. It's a super fun game. So I actually really want to cover it. And then people that have been watching Bacon Ice Cream Production for a really, really, really long time may know of another face. And that face is of my brother-in-law, Eric.
Ooh.
And he might actually reappear because he's starting to get in to the Lorcana. And if he does, then, well, hopefully the mat will return. The play mat will return. We'll get some cameras back in a studio somewhere, and we're going to start recording games. So that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
So like Suspend. I mean, I sort of, but it's like the weird thing about like putting, like it is, you're actually sacrificing the card from your hand in order to convert it into that mana type. It never comes back. Once it's down on the table, it doesn't become the card again. You can't like bring it out of the inkwell is what they call it. You can't bring things out. Once it's in the inkwell, it's set.
Yeah, so it's like doing a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, putting it in the dip. No, but
yeah, right.
I like that because Magic the Gathering, you could only use it as land, but you could purposely say, hey, out of 60 cards, I'm going to have these 20 cards. So that could be sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
Or the neat thing is you can just say, hey, I'm going to have all good cards, and then really strategy comes into. Then you can really be dynamic and be like, whatever you need at the moment can just become land.
Exactly.
So there's many different. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, more on that stuff later.
Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Just like Tim,
yeah,
we've got to go.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone. Awesome for hanging. It's been really, really cool. And until next time, we'll catch you then, right here on Calling Retro Gamers. See you later, guys.
Calling all Retro Gamers.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.